Sometimes there are drivers you meet that forever make you faster, forever make you achieve more and push you harder than anyone ever has done before or previously or since. Some of them use joypad, some of them use wheel. This is the story of one such driver, a driver who is one of the fastest of his generation, a driver who is pushing me onto greater endings, and from small beginnings, this is where the story begins. This is the story and analysis, the story of Void Sector. Every good story has a beginning, and this one begins here. 2011, GT5. And I'm going to show you Void's stats here, and bear in mind he wasn't even really trying for some of these time trials, and he had a K speed in the game of 75. And at the bottom of the screen you can see he hadn't completed enough events to get a true accurate picture of his speed, but that's very impressive, and that just goes to show you the level of speed he had without even trying on the game. So I'm going to show you another screenshot now, and this coming up will be what I said in 2011 about Void speed. Now GT Planet thread here, it was about who is the fastest driver, and I said the fastest player I know on a pad is Void Sector, unbelievably quick and smooth, a Nürburgring expert. And those words were back in 2011, and we're going to analyze this 9 years later, and we're going to see why. So this is a public lobby race. Void Sector starts in 9th place, and I'm going to show you exactly why he's the smoothest and fastest player there, and if he comes to GT7, why, if in competitive arenas, why you should be very, very wary of this guy and how fast he is. So here we go. The race is going to start, and this is going to be from his perspective. I don't need to show you the full 2 laps. I will just show you the moves that he makes, the lines that he takes, and that rhymes, and it wasn't meant to. But I'm going to show you all these moves, and I'm going to show you and analyze after the clips. I'm going to show you how he did it and why. So here we go. We're going to start the race now. So we're going down the first straight here, Nürburgring 24-hour layout, and you want to pay close attention on where he's braking, the moves that he does, and the analyzing that he's doing with the players around him, and where he knows he's going to make up time. So coming down to the first turn, it always can be a little bit foobar, and you've really got to be careful navigating this. As you can see, there's 2 players off already, and there's 1 player off to the left hand side. Now he can see this, and he's navigated a perfect line through the current so far. So we're going to let the video play here. I'm going to let you watch these moves that he does, and after it we'll analyze every single move piece by piece. So to give you a bit more background story on Void Sector, how I met him and the races that we did against each other. We met each other at December, mid-December or end December in 2010. And I had just had internet fit into my house. I had a PlayStation 3, and I came across a couple of guys even, who were always online and always running lobbies. And that was Void Sector, always in charge of the lobbies. In the lobbies was a fast driver called GT Baz. But Void Sector was the one that stood out the most, because he would take the fight to GT Baz. GT Baz had a full steering wheel setup and was very fast with it, and would frequently race with the other GT Planet guys as well. And Void would always have a way to come behind him, overtake him, and would finally end up beating him in a very important and very monumental race. And I wish I had that footage right now. Unfortunately, I do not. But we would talk about that later as we go along. So I used to race with Void and Baz, and I was nowhere near the speed of these guys at the time. I really wasn't. You know, you first come online on a game like Gran Turismo and you think you're fast until you get in a competitive lobby, and then you realize you're just not. So I was on controller at the time, and then I upgraded to a DF GT wheel. Now Void was always on controller all through GT5, GT6 and GT Sport as well, but we will come back to that in the future of this video. So I found that with my driving I would gain 1.5 seconds per lap on a small circuit using the DF GT on Gran Turismo 5. And that would put me kind of on par where Void was on the joypad, which goes to show you how fast and how smooth he was. And at that point, after racing these guys, I would springboard later on myself onto racing a competitive league on GT Planet. I would end up finishing 5th overall in the GT 500 championship we did, but I wasn't using one of the best ones in there. It had lower PP points. It was the Lexus SC430, the Denso, Team Denso Lexus. So for me to finish in 5th place, I would have finished about 4th or 3rd, I think, if I completed the whole season. But it was massively underpowered, and you know, I would do the best that I could with the thing. I didn't even finish the last 2 or 3 rounds for reasons. So yeah, Void made me a better driver and pushed me on to greater things. So you can see me here in 1st place, and I'm currently leading. This race was a little bit of a fuel saver race. I'm saving a little bit of fuel here. The guy behind me in 2nd place was also saving fuel as well. But we will see what happens. Now remember, Void started here in 9th place on the grid, and he is now up to 3rd, and he is bearing down on us. So that just goes to show you the pace this guy has, and we're all using the same tires, and that's the race hard tire as well. So just as we go along here, I will tell you a bit more background story about Void. Void is from Holland, from the Netherlands. He lives in a small town there, and he's always been a massive racing fan, and he's always loved GT. He's been around since the earliest GTs as well, and other games before it. But as we can see here, I've been knocked off by the guy who's behind me, and Void, silky smooth, takes over the position, and he's now in P2. So from P9 to P2 in half a lap of Nürburgring 24. So we're going to see a masterclass now from Void on how to pressure the guy in front of you and how to overtake. So if you just keep watching this whilst I talk and continue. So we went along in GT5. We later went to GT6, and GT6 wasn't as good as GT5, but we were still very fast. We enjoyed it, and we were competitive. But I still think most of the cars in the GT6 game, Void actually loved driving, and he loved racing against me especially. So that was brilliant. But I want to interrupt myself here. Now this straight here is where Void made the best ever move on GTP Baz, and you're going to see him try the move here, but it's not going to quite work. Now on this straight, we call this the Baz straight. Void would go left around here and would drive around the outside of anyone in front of him, and I have footage of that on other previous videos on my channel that you can go back and look at. And at this point it didn't quite work, but it takes a lot of trust between the 2 drivers to make that work. But when he made that move work on GTP Baz, it was just incredible. You know, Baz was no slouch, and Void just completely Bazed him down the Baz straight, as we called it. So that was a memorable moment in Gran Turismo 5 history. So anyway, we continue now into the carousel, and we are coming to the exit of the carousel, and you can see Void here. He's just waiting his time. He just knows he's faster than this guy. He knows he's going to pressure him right in his bumper to make a mistake. So let's watch what happens. And there's a mistake right there. So now Void is leading. He's gone from 9th place to 1st place in just under 3/4 of a lap in Nürburgring 24. And that is truly amazing. So let's analyze those moves. Let's go through it one by one. So at the start here we go. There's Void with the big pointy red arrow on him. And you can see how he comes down here. He's keeping the inside line where he knows there's going to be less trouble. He then brakes and goes and makes sure he hits the apex to get the smoothest line possible through. He then comes through to the left. He's keeping an eye on all this carnage going on around him. And he picks the best line out to get the best exit to get onto the small straight. And look at that, there he goes. He's now up into 5th place, and that's just incredible. That is a really great move. It's really a pleasure to see. Now he's on the back of the 4th place guy. Now he knows he's going to get right on the bumper. He's going to be super patient. He's going to tuck it into the inside. And the guy in 4th place is going to drift out wide, pushing too hard. And Void knows this. He leaves some space on the exit, the corner as well, and just tucks in. And that's the move done, completed. And now he's into 4th place. So here he goes now. He's going to push the 3rd place guy and see what happens here. So he gets behind him. The guy's got a penalty. Doesn't matter. It's in lobby mode. Void goes to the inside. He makes sure he brakes late. He's nice and smooth on the brakes here. He comes to the apex, and this guy going a little bit wide there, but Void, look at the speed that he carries through that apex. A little bit of a wiggle as well, just for a dramatic measure. And he knows the guy's still there, and he pulls in just gently right in front of him. And there he goes. Now he's into third place. And I just want to show you this as well, of Void's curb hopping techniques as well. He just hops this curb, doesn't assault the car, and he's up on two wheels, and he's through the corner. This is just absolutely amazing to watch, and this is why the guy is one of the best pad players you've never heard of. So let's continue again. Now this is the incident where it happens where I get knocked off, and Void comes down, he hits the apex perfectly. He's going to come out a little from the apex here, just to give me room to make sure he doesn't get hit. He's then got a tight line for that apex, but he makes the double apex fine. He's now on the exit, and now he's chasing down P1. And here he goes. Now Void can just ride on your bumper on Nürburgring and Nordschleife for 24 hours a day. You know, he can just ride on that bumper like and give you pressure after pressure after pressure. And he can make you feel that pressure and make that mistake. And this is the outside view of coming down the what we call the Bass Straight. And yeah, the moves you can do on here, you have to be very, very careful. The driver that you overtake has to be complicit and not ram you into the wall, because it could end really badly for one of you or both of you. But he tries to do the move there. It doesn't quite come off on this occasion, but he's done that move thousands of times before, you know, on this track. He's just absolutely a master of Nürburgring and the Nürburgring addict. So this is the move now that brings him into P1. So he's behind the guy. He's literally right on his bumper here. The guy must be sweating buckets with pressure. And he just makes that mistake. He goes off wide, and there he goes, and Void takes a position, nice and calmly and smoothly, and Void is in P1. And this is why Void is the best pad player you have never heard of before. So I just want to show you that, guys. I hope that Void didn't mind me making this video about him. And I really want to see Void in GT7. I want to see him push hard, because he's not been so keen on GT Sport. So I want to see him get GT7, I want to see him push hard, I want to see him right up there, racing me, racing the guys, and I want to see what he can truly do on the next console. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope I was able to entertain you and teach you about the Legend of Void sector. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you again next time. This is TJ. Take care.